If you've been avoiding the Land Rover Discovery Sport because it came with only a diesel option, here's some good news for you. The company has finally launched a petrol engine car for people who prefer to drive themselves. So, is it better than the diesel? And should you consider this as your next premium luxury SUV with 7 seats as well as 4x4 capabilities? Let's find out on the show today. Well, so here I'm inside the cabin of the new Discovery Sport Petrol, and we've already reviewed this car in its diesel version. So if you want to know what the back seat and the third row is like, you should check that review out by clicking over here. But overall, I will remind you that this cabin is one of the best in terms of not only build quality but also the materials used, and everything really does feel very, very posh and upmarket over here. And even the lower end of the center console, a place where a lot of people don't pay attention to, is very well made. The seats are very good in terms of comfort. You get these excellent side bolsters, and you also get a lot of storage space because you get this huge box over here where you can keep your Diet Coke cans in. You get a couple of beverage holders over here, and the door bin is also large enough to house not one but at least 2 or 3 big 1 liter bottles from your home. One thing which I will show you, especially inside the cabin here, is the opening of the glove box. It really has a very nice and soft dampened effect, which means that you get an added sense of luxury, and it is pretty big enough to keep a lot of stuff inside it, and you also get nice soft materials inside it. So phenomenal attention detail from the house of Land Rover. Well, so here I am driving the Land Rover Discovery Sport in its petrol version. Now remember, this car comes with a 2-liter petrol engine which makes about 237 bhp of power as well as 340 Nm of torque, and all that power is transmitted to the wheels via a 9-speed automatic gearbox. Yes, that's not a mistake on the brochure. It really is a 9-speed automatic gearbox, and it is probably one of the best gearboxes in operation at the moment in not only India, across the world. And why do I say that? Because the gearbox is pretty quick. Well, the suspension setup on the Discovery Sport is slightly on the firmer side, which means that at slower city speeds, some of those bumps and potholes will enter the cabin. But that's quite okay, because as speeds rise and as you hit speeds in excess of 80 or 90 kph, which are legal speeds on most Indian highways, this car feels rock steady on the highway, and it really does take every badly patchwork road into its stride, and it becomes phenomenal in terms of the grip levels as speeds rise, and there's hardly any surface which manages to unruffle this car's feathers when it comes to highway speeds. Well, let's talk about the performance of the petrol engine now. Well, the petrol engine is a lot more responsive than the diesel one, which is quite natural. Unlike the diesel engine, where you have to wait for about 2000 rpm for the torque as well as power to really kick in and get the car going, in the petrol engine, all that torque as well as power is available from a relatively low 1400-1500 rpm, so a little dab at the accelerator pedal is all you need, in fact, to get going. It's a very linear engine in terms of power delivery, and what also augments the power delivery is the fact that this car comes with a 9-speed gearbox, and those extra gears mean that flexibility on the highway is really phenomenal, and this car will really be very silent and very quiet when you are, of course, doing speeds in excess of 100 kph on the highway. Well, not only is the petrol engine a very refined unit, it's also much quicker than the diesel one. Now, this car officially takes about 8.2 seconds to the dash from 0 to 100. Now, that time is roughly about 2 seconds quicker than the diesel version, which in real world conditions is actually quite a lot. Well, if you love driving yourself, you will simply enjoy driving this petrol version. And why is that? Well, because the engine is supremely refined, it's very responsive. Well, the crisp steering wheel, the relatively dynamic chassis, as well as the punchy petrol engine means that this car is one of those few cars out there which can truly be called a keen driver's SUV. It really is one of the few in the breed, and it really will manage to put a smile on your face every time you take it out for a spin. Well, what also adds to the desirability factor in the driving dynamics on this car is the fact that the tires offer you loads of grip, and along with the grippy tires, you also get very good brakes, which make this car one of the best, not only for highway cruising but also for taking it into those hilly sections of the hills. One other plus point on the Discovery Sport is this huge glass area up ahead, and these high set seats mean that you get a very good look of the road ahead, and you can actually see beyond 3 or 4 cars and figure out what's happening and why are you getting stuck in traffic, and you can really look down on other puny motorists and feel like you really are the boss. Well, so if I had to pick up one major negative inside the Discovery Sport, it would have to be this screen over here. The infotainment unit looks a little outdated in terms of the fonts that it uses, And also, it's a little small in its size. I'm sure that Land Rover could have given this car a bigger unit, and maybe that's something that they should think about in the next version whenever they launch it in India. Well, so if you're in the market for a luxury SUV which offers you 4x4 capabilities as well as the refinement of a petrol engine, and want a car which you can drive yourself, and also want the option of having 7 seats, then there are few options as posh and as comfortable as the Land Rover Discovery Sport in its petrol avatar. And this is one car which you should buy with your eyes closed. But if you want the same car with the promise of low running costs, then you should also check out our review of the diesel version by clicking over here. And as always, don't forget to subscribe by clicking on this link over here. It's bye for now, and hope to see you soon.